Hey guys, my name is Dev Chooks. So far, we have been able to move cards between groups. We have been able to move cards within groups. Now, the next thing we want to do is to move groups. That's like dragging the whole family together, like moving groups, repositioning them by dragging. All right, so let's try to refactor our code to do just that. So first of all, not to get things too complicated, we're going to try to take this out as a component, all right, so that we can kind of understand what we're doing a bit. So I'm going to create another component down here. I'm going to call it rack. All right, I'm going to call it rack, and rack is going to be a functional component. It's also going to have like a return and, of course, something like this. All right, so rack is going to also have a droppable. Actually, let's just open this up and I'll take like the whole of this. Take like the whole of this. All right, take like the whole of this, and this becomes rack. And I think I'll bring this in here. Let's see how that works for us. So rack. Whoop, that's like a big move. So let's see if that works. That didn't work. That did not work. Okay, let's just find out what we missed. All right, so let's try to just revert what we have so far. All right, so go back, rack. What we want is we want to have this handled separately. All right. Yeah, so I think this is where we take from. So take this out from droppable here. Think so. Droppable. Droppable. And then we'll put rack right here. All right. Now, let's just give it all the values it's meant to have. Key, what exactly was it right here? So it was group.id, group.id. Just basically, let's pass in all this stuff here. Okay, group.id. Of course, the index. Yeah, I think it's fine. Then we can just pass in group. And group is going to be group. Let's do it like that. Next thing we want to do is rack is going to receive a prop of group. Let's save this and see how it works. Yep. So let's save this and see how it works. So it's still showing. So let's hope that things still work. I'll try to drag cabbage, still working in between. Good. So we now have like a component that's kind of takes a whole group together. The reason why I did it this way is so that you can really understand what is happening behind the scenes. All right. What's happening behind the scenes. So now we have one component is sorted out, is working perfectly. Now let's try to make this rack movable, because now this is a rack, this is another rack, and this is another rack. So now let's try to make it movable. Just like your original, all we have to do is to make this overall div a droppable. All right, is to make it a droppable. and then make this rack a draggable. Makes sense, right? So this is what we have to do. Come here and say droppable, droppable, and we're just going to like wrap the whole of this in a droppable, right? Then remember, droppable and draggable, they both take in functions, not just elements like that. All right. So we're going to pass the whole of this in. Let's take it a bit gradual. All right. Then we'll pass in the props. First one is we're passing the droppable ID. Droppable ID. Now we can call this droppable ID anything because it's not inside a loop or it's not inside a map. So we're just going to give it anything. So let's call it rack. Let's call it rack. All lowercase, please. Oh my god. Rack. And then you can also give it a type. I just call it rack also. All right, doesn't really matter. Let's call it rack. Remember the last type we had was group. Let's call this one rack. All right, now just to be sure it's still working. Still working. All right, no issues yet. No issues yet. Or every time you make a change that you feel can break something, just check it out quickly before it starts breaking things. All right, now we have to make this rack a draggable. But before we get to that, let's quickly pass in the regular stuff here. Provided. All right, provided. Now this div should then have, you know, what the normal divs usually have. Just taking the prop dot provided. So spread operator dot droppable props, and of course it should have a ref of provided. That was too much. Provided dot inner ref, and of course right at the end here we just have to add provided. What's going on here? Yeah, let's go. Provided. All right. Now the next thing we want to do is we then want to make this rack a draggable, right? We want to make it a draggable. This is where we'll end this video. So we want to make this draggable. So draggable. All right. We want to make each rack draggable. So if you remember one of the first videos I shot, I said you can have a nested set of draggables. So I'm going to say the key should be group.id. Remember, each draggable has an index. It has an index. And of course, draggables also take in functions, not just components. All right, so I'll just take this here. I'll just take this here and I'll paste this just like this. All right, save this. Now let's pass in the regular stuff. So I'm going to say, if we want, we can actually put this in a div. If not, we'll just pass it like directly like that. So I'm going to say provided. Actually, let's pass it in a div, but let's go. Provided. And basically what we're going to do is that let's call this a div. All right, div. And then the next thing we want to do is to take the whole of this rack and put in that div. All right, save that. Then here, let's pass in our normal stuff. Spread provided dot drag handle props. We also want to spread provided dot draggable props, and of course we want to give it a ref, and the ref is provided dot inner ref. Whoa, that's quite a lot, but you would have seen that if we had left our rack like still like as it was right here without moving all of that, you'd have seen that it would have been like a big problem for us. So let's just look at it. Let's just be sure that this is draggable. Nope, it's not draggable. All right, so in the next video we're going to kind of try to debug that. All right, we're just going to try to debug that because I think we have exhausted the limit for this video. See you guys in the next video.